Terima kasih Puan Nur Dalila dan selamat petang dan selamat sejahtera semua. Terima kasih kerana dapat bersama pada petang Jumaat ini. Tajuk kita pada hari ini ialah Educational Research Scientist. Saya daripada banyak bacaan dan daripada pengalaman saya sendiri, saya dah dapati bahawa ini satu topik yang saya nak kongsikan dengan cikgu-cikgu yang hadir bersama pada petang ini. Mungkin cikgu sendiri semua dah biasa dengan educational research. Kalau di peringkat ijazah pertama sudah pastinya buat projek yang kecil. Kalau ada buat sarjana, di peringkat sarjana ada tesis dan sebagainya. Tapi tidak semestinya kita hanya buat kajian atau penyelidikan untuk tujuan mendapatkan sesuatu ijazah. Segala ilmu yang kita perolehi daripada mengikuti satu program di peringkat ijazah pertama atau sarjana sebenarnya menyediakan kita dengan ilmu yang boleh kita gunakan untuk buat kajian seterusnya. Ramai orang jangka bila kita dah dapat PhD maka dah habis. Sebenarnya PhD itu adalah atau masters pun adalah permulaan kerjaya kita dalam penyelidikan, especially a PhD. It's the beginning of your research career. Artinya anda sekarang mempunyai satu gedung ilmu yang boleh digunakan untuk terus membuat kajian. So tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, anda boleh jadi educational research scientist. Well, how do you become a scientist? Bila anda menjadi pakar dalam bidang kajian yang kecil atau mungkin satu ruang subjek yang anda minati. And after a certain period of time, anda boleh di-regard atau dikenal pasti sebagai scientist. Of course, ramai akan kata, I'm an educational researcher. But how important is the word scientist? Kerana research is a science. Maka kita kena buat research dengan mengikut lunas-lunas yang betul. Our research cannot be flawed research. Kita tak boleh buat kesilapan bila kita buat research. Kerana apa? Kerana segala dapatan kita akan dibaca oleh pihak ketiga dan dapatan itu mesti mempunyai kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan yang tinggi. Kalau research kita tidak mengikut lunas-lunas dan prosedur saintifik, maka research kita itu tidak boleh diletak pada satu martabat kajian atau penyelidikan yang boleh diiktiraf. Banyak kajian dibuat di luar sana, tapi kalau kita nak menilai kajian itu, kita harus lihat sesuatu kajian itu berdasarkan prinsip-prinsip sains, the scientific approach to research. Bagaimana kita lakukan, kaedah penyelidikan yang kita gunakan dan sebagainya. Can I have the next? Dan banyak buku yang ditulis tentang educational research. I found some books very good. Satu buku yang saya dapati mudah untuk fahami ialah buku Research Methods, Educational Research Methods oleh Borg and Gold. Borggall. Dan sebuah buku lagi ialah buku oleh Leedy, Leedy. Simple, tentang kaedah penyelidikan dan sebagainya. I found this was the book that was introduced to me by one of our lecturers, and I found it's valid until today. Of course, ada edisi yang terkenal. So, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, selepas slide ini, kita akan menonton satu video lebih kurang untuk 8 hingga 10 minit. Dan beberapa soalan akan terjawab daripada video ini. What does an educational research scientist do? How do I become an educational research scientist? What courses should I take to become an educational research scientist? What is the future outlook for an educational research scientist? What is the work environment for an educational research scientist? Okey, kalau dalam senario kita dalam pendidikan di negara kita di Kementerian Pendidikan, khususnya banyak kajian penyelidikan adalah di bawah bahagian pembangunan penyelidikan atau EPRD, Educational Planning and Research Division. Of course, banyak universiti juga yang menerokai ilmu penyelidikan ini dan menjalankan banyak kajian. Tapi bezanya, kalau kita di universiti penyelidikan adalah sangat mirip kepada kepakaran pensyarah kita, sewajarnya. Tetapi kalau kita dalam sesebuah organisasi penyelidikan yang non-profit, macam contoh video yang anda akan tonton sebentar lagi, then you have to choose kajian penyelidikan berdasarkan keperluan. Apakah keperluan? Apakah topik yang perlu dikaji? Dalam umpamanya di kementerian kita sangat biasa dengan beg berat murid bertahun-tahun. Apakah kajian yang berkala menunjukkan trendnya, trend berkaitan dengan apa? So, lihat diri anda boleh jadi pengkaji tanpa juga memasuki sesuatu organisasi. Anda boleh jadi that research scientist. Sebagai guru juga, of course, cabarannya adalah masa. We are always hard pressed for time. Kita tak ada masa untuk menjalankan penyelidikan. Tapi ada juga yang sempat menjalankan umpamanya macam penyelidikan, kajian tindakan dan sebagainya. So tuan-tuan dan puan, sila beri tumpuan sebentar untuk lebih kurang 8 minit bagi video ini. Okey, Siti boleh tolong tayangkan?
Hi, my name is Carol, and I work as an educational researcher for a large not-for-profit educational organization. So educational research in a broad sense is just using research methods and statistics to answer education-related questions. Questions about students and student learning and what relates to student learning, teachers and teaching, and classrooms, schools, or school systems. So as you can imagine, it's pretty broad. For me, a typical day is consisting mostly of project work, project-related work. So at any given point in time, I am working on anywhere from 3 to 5 different research projects. So what I do in a given day is dependent on where I am in the research process for each of those projects. So I might be in meetings for a portion of the day where we're talking about research question and brainstorming ideas, or talking about what research design would be the most appropriate to answer those questions. I might spend some time collecting data, either finding or administering surveys or questionnaires, or conducting focus groups or interviews if we're collecting qualitative data. I might spend a portion of my day at my computer, at my desk, analyzing data once we've got it. We either are using qualitative data analytic techniques, or we're using some kind of statistical software to help us analyze quantitative data or numeric data. So that requires me to be at my desk. At that point, if the project's a little further along and we've already run our analyses, I might spend my time interpreting the results, writing reports, or creating presentations that we'll use to present the results of the study to someone else. So it's pretty varied, and I would say that takes up the most of my day, the largest portion of time during my day. However, there is a smaller portion of time that's more kind of logistical things. So checking my email, responding to email, making phone calls, filling out timesheets. We have to keep track of how much time we spend on each project for budgeting purposes. So that's a much smaller but still a part of my day. In terms of the work week, I work anywhere from 40 to 45 hours on a given week. I don't typically work nights and weekends, but I do occasionally if I've got a couple deadlines coming up and I'm not going to meet them, or if I have a report that I need to finish, I will work at night or on a weekend to get that finished up. But overall, I don't normally work more than 45 hours a week or so. Our business hours officially are 9 to 5:30, but my office where I work is pretty flexible. I like to come in around 7:30 and leave around 4. I have colleagues that come in at 9:30 and leave around 6. So depending on where you work, you might have more or less flexibility as to your work hours. In terms of stress level, I would say that my job is moderately stressful, and that stress mostly comes from having deadlines and the fact that my projects are, I'm kind of in charge of my own projects, so I'm in charge of them getting done on time within budget. So there's a moderate amount of stress related to that. I would imagine it's not nearly as stressful as a job where your pay is tied to what you produce, like a sales job or a medical doctor. We're not saving lives, but to the extent that I want to do a good job and want to get things done on time, it is moderately stressful. So to get a job as an educational researcher, you need at least a bachelor's and master's degree. Now, some companies won't hire researchers that do not have a PhD, and those that do, your options are going to be a little bit limited in terms of what you're asked to do and your opportunity for career growth. So I would say that if you're at all interested in this type of job, go ahead and plan towards working towards a PhD. Now, in order to be prepared for this type of job, you'll need a PhD in an area like research, evaluation, measurement, psychometrics, or related fields. My degree is in assessment and measurement, and it had a very heavy emphasis on research methods, research design, data analysis, and applied statistics. So degrees that emphasize those things are going to be good bets for you. Most of the time, these degrees are either in psychology or education departments, so as you're looking at them, you might want to look there. But there are certainly some other degrees that are relevant. Education or sociology are also good options. In terms of bachelor's and master's degrees that will prepare you for this PhD program, they're also going to be in similar areas, psychology or education, sociology. I've even got colleagues who have degrees in computer science or economics. So all of those are options if you're considering this as a career path. Now, there aren't any licensure or certification requirements for this type of job, but there are things that you can do while you're in school to help you get ready for this type of job. When you're an undergraduate, I would say absolutely get involved in a professor's research while you're there. This is going to give you a great opportunity to try research out, see if you like it, and help you begin to build those skills. It's also going to help you get into graduate school. A lot of times graduate programs can be pretty small and fairly selective, so if you've already begun developing those skills, it's going to make you look more attractive to graduate programs. Now, once you're in grad school, continue to look for ways to practice your research skills and apply what you're learning in class. Do research with your faculty members, with other students. If you have the opportunity, look for internships. A lot of research and testing organizations offer internships to graduate students, and it's a great way to get out in the real world, see what it's really like, continue to build those skills, and also network with folks who eventually might be hiring. So these internship opportunities really look very attractive to potential employers. As for final advice for someone who's considering this type of job, I would say a couple things. First and foremost, get involved in research as early as possible. This is really going to give you the best opportunity to see if you like it and to start developing those skills that you'll need in this type of job. Second, I would say if you can, learn about what's going on in education at a large scale. Take a look at the educational policies that are out there. A lot of times research is driven by policy, so if you understand that, you're going to have a better understanding about why you're doing the work that you're doing and why you're answering the types of questions that you are. And finally, one last bit of advice would be to stick with it. This job requires a lot of schooling. You're going to need a bachelor's, you're going to need a master's, you're probably going to need a PhD, and that takes a lot of time. And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard at times. Sometimes it might feel impossible, but it's completely doable if you just stick with it. And at the end of the day, it's a really fulfilling career. So it's worth the effort.
Okay, terima kasih Siti. So begitulah. You have heard about bagaimana bidang-bidang kajian yang dibuat oleh beliau sebagai seorang educational research scientist. So kalau dalam sistem yang kita yang ada sekarang, mungkin kalau anda berminat, maka mungkin anda boleh memohon untuk bertugas di EPRD dalam kementerian. Atau kalau di IPG, dan kalau di sekolah pun anda ada pasukan yang sebagai beberapa orang guru kumpul bersama dan buat satu kajian, you can even do that. You can start somewhere. Of course, you have to find the time. I am sharing this because tak lama lagi, dalam seminggu lagi adalah cuti sekolah. Go explore, cakap pada diri anda nak baca satu research paper, something that is of interest to you, just one research paper, right? So, why did I decide to emphasize, untuk beri penekanan kepada research? Dalam beberapa 2 minggu yang lepas, saya sedang baca buku Empowering Educators. Dan bila lihat ciri-ciri latihan guru yang saya akan kongsikan dalam minggu hadapan, di Finland, di Australia, di Singapura, dan beberapa negara yang lain, satu daripada ciri penekanan diberi adalah kepada keterampilan membuat penyelidikan. In Finland, ijazah pertama dan masters adalah dibuat bersama. So when you qualify with your first degree dan juga with your masters. Tetapi strength atau tunjang dalam first degree dan mastersnya bukan pada content sahaja, tapi fokusnya adalah kepada penyelidikan. The focus is on research skills. Dan dia nak cikgu aplikasikan kemahiran penyelidikan ni dalam PDP mereka. Sebab itulah satu daripada ciri utama mengapa pendidikan di negara Finland tu menjadi nombor 1 di dalam dunia. Susah, memang mereka mengaku bukan mudah, tetapi itu merupakan penyokong utama, not just doing research for research sake, tapi applied research untuk memahami situasi di sekolah anda sendiri atau di daerah anda sendiri atau di sebuah negeri itu sendiri. It's not just research apa jua topik yang diberi. Research yang membawa satu perkara yang significant. It must bring significant contribution to education. Selalunya bila kita buat kajian, kita ditanya, apakah kesignifikan penyelidikan ni? Apakah penggunaan research yang anda buat ni? How important is it? Not just research for research sake. So ada banyak tajuk ya, saya hanya sebut beberapa je. Umpamanya, kita selalunya kita tahu bahawa penyelidikan bermula daripada penyelidikan ni ada 2 tujuan. One is to solve a problem. Second, matlamat adalah untuk menambah ilmu kepada ilmu yang sedia ada. To solve problems and to develop new knowledge. To add on to existing knowledge. So, umpamanya kita ada isu macam penguasaan 3M selepas 6 tahun belajar di sekolah rendah. Ada isu di situ, ada yang boleh, ada yang tak boleh. Why? Obesity dalam kalangan murid. Saya bersama seorang pakar pediatrik 2 minggu lepas dan beliau dalam sembang profesional ni dia kata, we have to look at obesity among children. It is on the increase. So perkara kita tahu bahawa obese child will become an obese adult. Itu kajian telah menunjukkan trend sebegitu. So kelemahan murid dalam mata pelajaran tertentu, amalan terbaik tentang PDP, not only negative, we also look at positive things. kewujudan stres dalam kalangan guru, tinjauan tentang insiden penyakit dalam kalangan guru, how many are suffering from high blood pressure dan sebagainya, umpamanya lah. Ini semua contoh-contoh, tapi ya, penyelidikan atau tajuk ni boleh kita perluaskan berdasarkan apakah kesignifikan kajian yang kita perlu buat ni. Apakah dapatan kajian itu akan menyumbang terhadap, saya kata, masalah yang wujud atau sebagai kesinambungan kepada ilmu yang sudah sedia ada. Umpamanya juga seperti kesesuaian kurikulum mengikut tahap dan so many issues. But we need scientists. We need educational scientists. Not just mere researchers, tapi kita perlu pakar yang betul-betul boleh mendalami, menyelami isu dengan kebolehpercayaan dan kesahan cara penyelidikan yang terpuji. Itu saja daripada saya. Kita masuk ke slide yang terakhir. Terima kasih kerana dapat bersama saya pada petang Jumaat ni. Jangan lupa, buku adalah beban latihan untuk minda. Books are the training weights of the mind. And kita boleh menerokai ilmu daripada pelbagai sumber. Daripada bacaan buku, daripada internet dan sebagainya. Of course, dalam sembang profesional kita dengan rakan-rakan. Dan jangan lupa, if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way the child learns. So itu saja daripada saya. Balik kepada moderator kita, Cikgu Dalila.